This video is going to be about the design process of making an app. Every app designer creates some kind of flow or process before they begin to code that shows what the app is going to look like. What do each of the pages have on them? What kind of programming, what kind of decision making is going to be happening behind the scenes? They plan this in advance so that they can start from the beginning and know that they've already thought about all of the details, instead of getting started without a plan and then having to go back because they missed something and have to scrap everything or redo it all. So we're going to start from scratch here, and we're going to make a flowchart. So the first thing you're going to do is go to draw.io. We're going to make a flowchart to design your flow because it's a nice visual way to see what one step is and then the next. So I'm going to create a new diagram. There is a flowchart option. I don't like it as much because it already has something set up. I like to start from scratch. So I'm going to choose a blank diagram and create it. I'm going to save it to my desktop, and I'm going to call it Quiz Flow since it's the flowchart for my quiz show app. Okay, I can see here on this diagram, on this blank page, I've got some options for shapes. Let me talk to you about the shapes used in flowcharts. There is an oval. We use rectangles, parallelograms, diamonds, and arrows. And these shapes all have meaning to every programmer. So whenever a programmer sees an oval in a flowchart, that is the start or the finish of a program. A rectangle means we are completing a process. We're doing something. This parallelogram means we are either getting input from the user or providing output for the user. This one is looking for a decision. Did they get the question right? Yes or no? And then this arrow is the connector that connects everything. It connects one step to the next. So that's what the arrow does. I'm going to help you get started on what your quiz show app flowchart might start to look like. So let's start with an oval because we're going to begin. We'll have a start screen with instructions. Okay, we'll tell the user you need to get 5 questions correct in order to win, or whatever your instructions are, that will be there. Right now I'm going to draw an arrow for the next step. I need to flip the direction of my arrow. And the first thing I'm going to do, so after they hit the instructions, there will be a button that they click that will open the very first question. All right, so we'll have a process. After button click, first page opens with first question. We're going to draw an arrow from here then that will get input from the user. I should not have disjointed my arrow, but I will do that later. Okay, I'm going to get input from the user for their answer to the question. We'll say get user input from first quiz question. All right, we're going to now check, is that answer correct? So we need a decision-making block. We need the diamond. Answer to question 1 correct. If so, things are going to happen. So let's draw this. If yes, drag some text over to say yes, correct. Then we'll put some output. The output would be we've got a parallelogram for output. We'll say congrats. First question correct. From there, we'll open a new page with a new question. Now, the direction you go with your arrows from here is up to you. If you want to continue out in this direction, probably not a bad idea because you're going to have several questions. If you want to move it down, that's fine too. I'm going to move mine down. Just trying to think ahead a little bit. If the first question is correct, then our process is to open the next question. Page. Open page with second question. And so on and so forth. Now, what if they get it wrong? I'm going to, whoops, I put my arrow in the wrong spot. I'm going to move my arrow over here. If they get the question wrong, I'm just going to start them back over again. Actually, I'm going to end it up here. I'm going to put a little bend in my arrow. And then draw one more over here that connects back. So instead of having to put this block over again, instead of redrawing this rectangle, if they got the question wrong, I'm just going to tell them that they were wrong, or I'll just move them back up to the top again. Maybe telling them they were wrong is a good idea. All right, I'm going to change my text here. I'm going to say no. Maybe even put a little process block in here that says, tell the user they got the question wrong. And then open up the first page. So that's our way of looping this back up and not having to redraw all of this process again. This just loops it for us to say that we start all over again. We get the input, we check again. If they still get it wrong, and if they still get it wrong. You're probably going to also want to add some points in here. If they got the first question correct, we probably want to add a process in here that will add a score. So I'm going to move this down and throw a process. So it's like add 1 to the user's score. All right, so your goal is to complete this flowchart for the multiple questions. Try to be as efficient as you can when creating this flowchart. Try to reuse blocks if possible by looping back up like I showed you before.